the dialogue is razor sharp in Tarantino's movies. That's one of the reasons why his characters are so fascinating, because, like you said, they sounds like real people talking. It sounds authentic. His characters are so great. However, this movie has a ton of offensive language, like a lot of his movies, but it has matured since then. But this movie, hasn't completely aged well with the things that are said. And this dialogue in Reservoir Dogs is not politically correct. Some lines do not age well. Tarantino is all about authenticity to creating real characters and writes dialogue to how they talk. That's his specialty. We're not saying that it's okay for the characters to say the things that they say in Reservoir Dogs, but these characters are cold-blooded killers. They are criminals, meaning they say the worst things possible to people they know. They say these things because they're bad people. Tarantino's not saying that people should talk like this or that it's common to talk like this. Tarantino's saying that these horrible people, these cold-blooded murderers, thieves and killers, they say horrible things because they are the worst kind of people. They're not heroes, they're murderers. So that's how people like that would talk.
So that's 100% correct, because you can fully understand why if people watch this movie, they can just completely be offended by some of the language, because it is offensive. But also, you got to look at it at the perspective of these characters are, like you said, the worst people imaginable. So they wouldn't be nice. They wouldn't be personable.
They'd be horrible. They'd be racist. They'd be homophobic. They'd be misogynist, and that's what Tarantino makes them.
Yeah, because it's not like these are just normal people. These are, like you said, terrible criminals. They've done time. They'll kill someone without hesitation if they want to. And a couple of them, like Blondie, is a complete psycho. So it's important to understand that these are terrible people, and it's not being glorified. He's just painting an accurate portrait of what terrible people would speak like.
And some other trademarks of Tarantino, obviously his super unique and authentic characters in every one of his movies. We love all of his characters. They're so fascinating. Even though we're talking about how horrible these guys are, sometimes you're like rooting for them, like, oh, these guys are so cool. Mr. White's the man, even though he's a cold-blooded killer. I love this guy. And also great music. This is the first movie Tarantino made, and the importance of the music he selected was just, it's essential to creating the tone. I mean, Little Green Bag at the beginning of the film is just such a fun opening song to get the tone of the film going. And then Stuck in the Middle of You with Mr. Blonde during the torture scene, that is one of the most iconic scenes in cinema in the last 50 years, and that song is one of the reasons why.
That song cost a major portion of the budget to use for the rights to, and he planned that song. He always had it in mind when he was writing the script, and he understood, like, if we get this song, we can't do that much music. That's why it has less music than other Tarantino movies like Pulp Fiction, because they only had what, a 1.5 you said million, if that. And the rights to a very popular song like that, you're gonna have to shell out at least $100K, maybe even more, to get the rights to license that song. So he's like, okay, if I have to use only a couple of songs, I'm gonna use a couple of unheard songs that nobody knows. But I want this big song because I know it's perfect for this scene, and it will really make the movie work in a lot of ways. That's like halfway through the film, and when that scene happens, it's right before the ultra violence. You see some blood and stuff, but like this is like where the movie takes a big turn into the torture scene, where you're seeing graphic gore and just despicable violence, and that's when the movie just like goes full tilt into that. And so it's an important moment for the movie.
And again, it's a very low budget, but it was originally a $30,000 budget. Tarantino was going to shoot this on a 16mm camera. He was going to make it with just a bunch of his friends, including his producing partner Lawrence Bender, who was going to play nice guy Eddie. So him and his friends are going to go play all the characters and everything. But then Tarantino received a phone call from Harvey Keitel asking if he could not only be in the film, but if he could produce it, because he had gotten involved via the wife of Bender's acting class teacher, who managed to get a copy of the script to him. And Keitel's involvement helped raise the budget to about $1.5 million, because investors were like, all right, Harvey Keitel's a big name. And even Tim Roth was a good name, but he wasn't signed on yet. But Harvey Keitel's involvement got them that budget.
Yeah, Keitel's the reason why Reservoir Dogs was made into what it is.
Because if it was made on $30,000, maybe no one would have ever seen it. But I mean, it could have been like following to Chris Nolan, because he made that on $10,000. That got him some recognition at film festivals and stuff like that. So maybe that's what would have happened.
Yeah, it could have been like a cult movie that film lovers enjoyed years later, and that could have been like a stepping stone to him making another movie. But it wouldn't have been the iconic film that it is today. So you got to thank Harvey Keitel for taking a chance on Tarantino.